I know that it's not, maybe not be, it might not be as interactive as the Dawah program and the other programs that we actually did. But there's a particular reason why we are teaching this subject. The reason why I actually chose to teach this subject was because of a hadith. I'm going to tell you the hadith. The hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Allahumma inni uharriju al-haqq da'ifain, yatim wa mar'a." The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, and I want everyone to pay attention to this part. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned, he said, "Oh Allah," as a dua, "Allahumma inni uharriju al-haqq da'ifain." That, oh Allah, I will seek retribution. I declare retribution. I will make it hard for people who take advantage of the two weak ones. And the two weak ones he named is the orphan and the women. And unfortunately what happens in this particular setting, not in this setting, but in today's time, a lot of people, they use marital issues, divorce, and so on and so forth, they use it as a weapon to get back at each other. Or they use it to oppress the women, vice versa. So therefore, the only way we can try to combat these particular things is to educate you about these issues. All right? So this is why, again, in compliance with the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he mentioned, "Allahumma inni uharriju al-haqq da'ifain," that, oh Allah, I will declare retribution against anyone who takes advantage of the two vulnerable ones, the orphan and who? The women. So therefore, the reason why some of the brothers here, they have daughters, I'm sure you do not want to marry your daughter off to a brother who's going to take advantage of her, so on and so forth, play games, vice versa. The sisters here, for her to understand what she's entitled to, what she's not entitled to, so on and so forth. This is the only reason why we are actually going to, I felt it was necessary to teach the subject. Another thing, anything that I teach you in this class, anything that I actually teach you, I want you to go back and I want you to research it and look it up and don't take it for face value. Yes, there is an ayah in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he mentions, "Fasbir ahla dhikri in kuntum la ta'lamun." Ask the people of knowledge if you do not, what? No. Imam Shawkani, rahimahullah, he has an interesting point about that particular verse. He said that this verse actually means ask the people of knowledge about the proofs. Okay? Ask them for the proofs and the evidences because you want to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of the evidence. I don't want anyone to say, well, I'm just doing it because Abdullah said so. That is not going to benefit you in your grave, and it's not going to benefit you in standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That which is going to benefit you is to worship Allah based upon what? Upon the knowledge. Okay? So again, the basic of this whole class is teaching to educate our daughters, our aunts, our sisters, our mothers who may have been divorced, so on and so forth, so they can understand their rights. Because we want to be in compliance with the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who said, "Allahumma inni uharriju." This is not the statement of anyone; it's a statement of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That I will seek retribution against anyone who takes advantage of the two vulnerable ones, orphans, and who? Women. All right. So therefore, let's go to today's topic. We're going to cover the rules of the walima. We're also going to cover divorce, talaq. We're going to cover khula, all right, and questions regarding that, okay? So, Anwar, can you actually go to the screen for where it says wedding? Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. All right, here. So before we actually continue with today, I just want to ask a quick question. When is a woman entitled to half the dowry? Remember, after next week, meaning in 2 weeks, you're going to have a test. This test is going to be extremely hard. It's not going to be like any other test. I'm not going to help you or anything. Okay, but just who can tell me, when is a woman entitled to half a dowry? Let's see if he was making review. Huh? She's entitled. When is she going to get half the dowry? That's all she's going to get. Half.
When the marriage hasn't been consummated and he changes his mind.
Alhamdulillah. So basically, she's entitled to half the dowry, right? If they agree to get married. However, he did not consummate the marriage yet. If he did not consummate, he was divorced prior to that. He just can't say, well, Allah, I don't even want to do it no more. He still has to give her what? Half the dowry, not the rest. He has to get a half. All right. So for example, if they agree 5,000, how much he has to give?
25.
The guy gave $25. All right, 2,500. Good. So now let's actually gonna focus on today. Alhamdulillah. It's coincident there was a wedding today, so alhamdulillah. All right, and may Allah bless them in their marriage, and this wife and their hereafter. Amen. So let's talk about the ruling. When we say ruling, the obligation, is it obligatory? Is it highly recommended to actually have a walima? Alhamdulillah, the scholars of Islam, there's a difference of opinion between the two. The majority of them say that it is a highly recommended sunnah. That is highly recommended that you actually have the walima. Some of them go to the extent to say that it is obligatory, that it's wajib, that you must have a walima if you are going to get married. And also, both of them are going to use the hadith, Olim walaw sha. That the Prophet ﷺ, he told one of his companions that to have a walima, even if it's only one sheep. But now, that's not the point I want to focus on. What I want to focus on, too, is towards basically the end. The time where you're going to have the walima. It could be at the time of the contract, okay? And we also mentioned that a woman can stipulate certain rights in the contract. So what are some of those rights she can stipulate during the contract? Sisters should know, all the sisters should know this one. Huh? She can stipulate that, listen, I don't want you to marry any other woman other than me. She can stipulate that, all right? Don't wait till 10 years later and have that conversation, all right? So after the contract as well, after the marriage has been consummated, so on and so forth, they can also have the walima, okay? They can also have and this is the time frame that's basically is given to the people who are desiring to get married. Now, also, what is the answering an invitation? What is the ruling for answering an invitation? It is what? If someone invites you to their walima, you have to answer. You have to answer. This is because the rights of a Muslim over a Muslim are 6. And one of those things is that if you are invited to something, you do what? You answer it. However, there's a caveat to this. The caveat is, the condition that is put in place is, however, if the person has a what? A valid excuse, then the obligation is what? Is lifted. So I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say there's a wedding going on in Texas, and your best friend invites you there, okay? He says, listen, the wedding is next week. You gotta come because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that whenever you're invited, something you have to answer. But now you know with short notice, you don't have the money, financial means. Are you sinful for not going?
No.
Huh? No, why not?
Can't afford it.
It's a hardship, alhamdulillah. All right, that hardship is actually lifted because, listen, I can't go. It's going to be a struggle. My family, my wife is sick or what have you. Well, I'm not sure about that one. But, all right, that's a joke. All right, so what happens here is that, again, if it's a hardship upon you, when you cannot fulfill that obligation, then it is actually lifted. And you are not blameworthy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what are some things where it's basically not a valid excuse? Who can give me something that's not a valid excuse?
I'm tired.
Huh?
Tired.
All right, tired. Or brother says, yeah, I think I'm going to be sick next week. All right? How do you know that? It's not a valid excuse. Nah.
I ain't got nothing to wear.
I ain't got nothing to wear.
You wanted to marry the sister.
You wanted to, he in his feelings, right? He wanted to marry the sister. I'm not showing up. All right? You holding the marriage don't work out, all right? All right? May Allah forbid. All right, so what happened? But these are real reasons. Some people, all right, that's not a valid excuse. Okay? Now, so the answering the invitation is that it's obligatory if you have to answer the invitation, but at the very least try your best to actually attend the wedding. Okay? Now also, what are the husband's obligations towards his wife after marriage? And then also, does these obligations fall at any moment, at any point? Alright? We gotta talk about this. So, what are some of the obligations? Alhamdulillah, brothers here are married, so they should definitely know their obligations. What is your obligations towards your spouse? Providing shelter.
Food, shopping,
Food. Clothing.
love, shelter.
He said love. MashaAllah, ma'ah. Alright? MashaAllah. Huh? Security.
Teaching.
Huh?
Teaching, God.
To teach them, to protect them, and so on and so forth. All these things are good, and all these things are correct. Now, however, we want to pay close attention to this. Does these obligations fall at any point? Yes or no?
No,
Huh?
no.
For some,
Some obligations actually fall at certain points.
Okay.
All right. So, for an example, like nafaqah, like actually providing for the wife. The only time that actually falls, and this comes from the ayah, well, let's pass the ayah that mentions, and if you fear that they are basically going to be disobedient, then you are to separate the beds. You are to do this and take these particular steps. All right. This is also called basically a woman who is nashes. Okay. So basically, if for an example, I'm going to give examples. I don't want people to just use this and say, well, I ain't got to pay the rent next month. All right? It doesn't work like that. All right? So what happens is, for an example, if the wife is disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, she's not praying, she's not taking care of the children, she's not doing any of the wifely duties, okay? And she's extremely disobedient to her husband, or she's very loose, okay? She's very loose, she's very, very friendly with other men, and so on and so forth. All right, where it's just a tremendous hardship. All right, based upon that, then the scholars of Islam mentioned that the obligation of providing food and clothing, these things are lifted. Now again, brothers, you don't want to go to the extreme. You don't want to say, hey, can you make me a sandwich? No, well, I ain't got to pay the rent. All right, it doesn't work like that. All right, so it doesn't work out that way. We're talking about someone who's extremely, for an example, a'udhu billah, may Allah forbid, if a woman falls into zina, okay, or she commits adultery, she cheats on her husband, or she's very loose, or things like things, something extreme like this. Based upon this, that obligation is lifted until she makes tawbah and comes back to the truth, or he divorces her, one or the other. Okay? We're not spend too much time on that. We're gonna hold all questions towards the end of class. Okay? So if you have a question, I don't want you to forget. I want you to write it down, and then I'll take 10 minutes. And we can answer questions. If anybody has any extra questions, I'll put my email address. They can contact me via email or what have you. Okay? Does these obligations fall at any point? Again, only in certain cases. Let's go to the next slide and we'll come back to this. So there are types of divorces in Islam. Unfortunately, it's life. It's not encouraged, but unfortunately, it does happen. Divorce does happen in Islam, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of our marriages. Ameen. All right. However, it's a part of life. It does happen. Things doesn't work out. People get divorced. Okay. But there are several different types of divorces. We're only going to talk about 3. One is known as a what? A khula. Do not say cooler. Okay. A cooler is something you put drinks in. All right. A khula. Okay. A talaq. Okay. A divorce. And then you have an annulment. Fasq. Meaning that the marriage was totally in void. It was null and void from the beginning. All right. So therefore, you have to immediately separate. Now, I want you brothers, I want everyone to be mindful. Can someone read this at the bottom? The wording.
That he used as it could have an effect on the ruling.
All right. So you want to be mindful of the wording that you use because it could have an effect on the ruling. So let's for an example. We're going to talk about the khula in detail, and we're obviously going to talk about a talaq in detail. What is a point that I want to talk about now? How does a talaq even happen? How does a man divorce his wife? He has to say what? He has to say what? I divorce you. Okay? Well, he says in Arabic, what he says in English, talaq, whatever the case may be, this will actually start. Now, however, this goes into 2 different categories. You have that which is sarih. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. Well, I didn't mean that, so on and so forth. You said it, it starts. Okay? But now, let's say he said something which is also known. You have sarih, you have kinaya, right? Well, basically, you say some type of word where it's very ambiguous. It can have more than one meaning. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say Brother Jack, he gets angry with his wife, Jill. I don't know, whatever. This first 2 names came to my mind. Jack and Jill went up the hill. That's what came up. All right. So what happens here is Jack gets mad at Jill and he says, "Listen, I don't even want to deal with this no more. I'm leaving." Okay. Does that count as a divorce?
No. Unless.
All right. So now let's talk about that. So what happens here is that the scholars of Islam mention that if it's known amongst your culture that that's how it's interpreted, then that is going to be the rubric. Because what's going to happen is people are going to start playing games. Well, I didn't mean that. I didn't say that, so on and so forth. I had my intention. If it's known amongst the people that this is what it means, yaqa talaq, it starts. Okay? So for an example, let's go back. Is that something, for example, everybody who grew up here in America, whether you were born here or not, doesn't really matter. You understand the culture. So if I said, for example, Jack gets mad at Jill and he says, listen, hit the road, Jack, all right? Stop. Okay? But he says basically, listen, I'm leaving, I'm out. All right, he walks out the door, he slams the door, boom.
No, it's on his boy's house.
He goes to his boy's house. All right? Is that close? Do we interpret that as being what? A divorce? Yes or no? No. He's just mad, he's upset, whatever. Okay. Now he says, listen, get out my face, it's over, Jill. All right?
Yeah.
Does that count?
Yes. Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Come on, let's not play games. That count, all right?
Yes, it counts.
Let's not play games.
It's over.
He said, get out my face, I don't want to see you no more.
It's
All
over.
this other stuff.
No. When
Huh?
you use that word,
You
it's
say he needs
over.
lotion.
I said, that's not emotion.
Oh, emotion. I said,
That word is fine.
all right. Okay, so alhamdulillah, it's out of emotion, but again, we said that a person who divorces his wife, even when he's angry, it counts, because no one divorces his wife when he's happy. No one says, mashallah, since this chicken was good, you divorced my wife. No one says that. Alright? So everybody says it basically when they're totally upset or when they're extremely angry. Alright? So having said that, again, you want to be careful with your wording, alright, because you don't want to play games, because at the end of the day, we're talking about something that can possibly be haram. Alright? You continue in this marriage, and the marriage is haram because you divorced it 10, 12 times, whatever the case may be. So you want to be careful, so be mindful of the wording that you use, because it could have an effect on the ruling. Alright? So let's not give an extreme example. Let's give another example where Jack gets mad at Jill again. He says, you know what, man, I don't want to deal with you right now. I'll be back in like 3 days.
No.
Huh?
No.
Does that count?
No.
No one interprets that as what? As a divorce. He's hot, he's in his feelings, whatever the case may be, I need a break. Or he says, you know what, man, go to your parents' house. I'm seeing your parents, I'm packing your stuff, and you're going to your mother's house.
No.
No.
That's a little close. Huh?
No.
Talk some symphony.
No.
No, yes?
No. It's not divorce. No.
All right, it's not a divorce. All he's doing is what?
Send it to a mother's house.
Send it to your mother's house. Huh?
Yeah, time out. Yeah.
Put, yeah, he put it in
He
time.
put a time out.
Yeah.
Allah. All right. Hey, you like it, I love it. Okay. All right. So now, a khula. That's in regards to the brother actually divorced. We're gonna go into some more detail. But I just need you to understand the concept. The whole point of this particular slide is be careful of the wording that you use. It's advice to myself and it's advice to any brother who is married. You don't have to take my advice. You do whatever you want. But the point is that try to remove this word from your vocabulary. Forget about that it even exists. Work on your marriages, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so on and so forth. Remove this from your vocabulary. If it leads to that, then it leads to that. Alright? But we need to understand the difference. Now, khula is the difference between the two, and as the scholars of Islam, the majority of the scholars of Islam, they say that a khula is not actually a talaq. It's a separation, however, it does not actually count from the numbers of talaq. We're going to go in more detail about that. However, basically, a khula is a woman wants to free herself from what? A marriage. Jill gets mad at Jack. Listen, I can't deal with you, brother. You bugging out. All right? I want to leave. I want out of the marriage. And let's say her dowry was $10,000. Okay? Then she's going to give back that $10,000, and then she's going to be in the iddah, and then she can leave the marriage once her iddah is over. Okay? We're going to go into that in more detail, but I just need you to understand this. For an example, now, an annulment. Just trying to give you a bird's eye view of what's going on before we go to the next slide. An annulment, again, we explained it as what? It was null and void from the beginning. All right, for an example, I don't know, he ended up marrying his sister from breastfeeding by mistake. Again, not his sister that he grew up with, it happens. They found out later on that they breastfeed from the same mother, okay? This is his sister. All right, we'll have your hand up. All questions are towards the end, though.
He tested it before he married her.
He tested before he married her. That's not going to, that's a sin, of course.
Yeah, that's not a no.
Sin.
It's not a
Void,
no.
the marriage is void.
But not necessarily, Jay. It's a sin. He committed a major sin, all right? And we actually need to talk about that now. The difference between a fornication and actually committing adultery. If people have intimacy before they're married, it is a major sin that they should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? But if they get married after that, that's not a justification of what they did. They still committed a sin. They have to be held accountable for that. All right? Now, if they make tawbah and they get married, that doesn't mean the marriage is null and void. All right? But now let's say that marriage, Jack and Jill, the same example, that marriage doesn't work out. Okay? They both get divorced. He gets weak, whatever the case may be, he sleeps with another woman. That is not his wife. That is not fornication, that is zina. Even though he is not married. Okay? We need to understand that. There's a major difference between the two, and we'll go back over that later. Okay? Anwar, you go to the next slide? Alright. So again, before we actually go into the details of talaq and the details of khula, we're going to talk about the iddah period. What is the iddah period? Alright? The waiting time before she can actually get remarried again. These are different cases, and we're going to go over them one by one. So can someone read the first one for me? A pregnant woman. So I'm going to test you like this. On the test, what's going to happen is, I'm letting you know now. I'm going to give you different examples. A woman's iddah period was 3 days. How is that possible? Give me a situation. A woman's iddah period was 4 months and 10 days. How is that possible? Explain it to me. A woman's iddah period was 5 minutes. Explain that. Is that even possible? All right? Well, that's fine. Let me go back to make sure. All right. All right. So what happened is a pregnant woman. Okay? A pregnant woman. What happens? How long does she wait until she can get, basically till her iddah period is over?
Until she gives birth to the child.
So what I need somebody to do, because we need proofs for everything, I want someone to go to Surah Talaq. It's going to be 4 different brothers. Someone go to Surah Talaq, verse number 4. Someone go to Surah Al-Baqarah 234. Someone go to Surah Al-Baqarah 228. And someone go to Surah Al-Baqarah 229. So again, I need 4 different brothers.
You just that's what we see on the
Anwar,
Yes.
can you help me out? Can you move it up a little bit?
Oh, going the wrong direction. Yeah, that's working on it.
PC, right?
We getting there. We getting there.
Oh.
We getting there. It's a little slow. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Again, I need 4 different brothers. One brother's going to go to Surah Talaq, verse number 4, Surah Al-Baqarah 234, Surah Al-Baqarah 228, Surah Al-Baqarah 229. These are the proofs for each different.
I got Talaq.
All right, who has Talaq? Anwar has that. Who has the husband passed away? You got it? It's loading. It's loading, okay. Who has 228? All right, we'll see. Who has 229?
I do too.
It's already got, you got 229. All right, let's start. Surah Talaq, who has it? All right, Anwar, go ahead.
If you are in doubt how to calculate the period of such of your women who have disparate of monthly courses, then know that the period for which they must wait is 3 months, and the same holds good for such women as who have not menstruated for some other reasons. And as to pregnant women, their term will end when they are delivered of their burden after giving birth to a child. And
All right, stop. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that this iddah period will end when she does what? The scholars of Islam also mentions even if she loses the child. Okay? If she loses the child as well. So again, a pregnant woman, let's say, brother, she's in her 3rd month. Brother gets mad, he divorces her. Okay? How long is that iddah period? Let's say she has a perfect pregnancy. May Allah protect all our women who are pregnant. I mean, but she has a perfect pregnancy, and then how long is her iddah period? Huh?
6 more months.
Much 6 years.
6 months.
All right, 6 months. 6 months. All right, 6 months, and then when she gives birth to the child, then and obviously she becomes purified again, so on and so forth. She can start looking for marriage. We're going to actually talk about what is he entitled to, how much he can provide, things like that. We'll talk about that later. But again, I just want you to understand the concept that if she's pregnant, until she gives birth to the child, or la samahallah, may Allah forbid that she loses the child, okay? Then, if she's pregnant, this actually what happens, okay? Play it. Again, hold all questions towards the end. If you need me to go back to a slide, I will. A husband did what?
Passed away.
He passed away. May Allah protect us. Oh, all right, I mean. All right, but if a brother passes away, then her iddah period is how long?
4 months.
All right. Again, on the test, I'm not going to help you out. You got to mention the time, the proof for it as well. Okay? 4 months, 10 days. Who has Surah Al-Baqarah 4 months and 10 days? Lady. Follow.
And those who are taken in debt among you and leave wives behind, they, the wives, wait 4 months and 10 days. And when they have fulfilled their term, then there is no blame upon you for what they do for themselves in an acceptable manner.
All right. 4 months and 10 days. If a husband passes away, so again, let's say that it is, I don't know, let's say March 1st. Okay? Brother Jack passes away. If anybody here name is Jack, I do apologize. All right? But it's just a name that came in my head. All right? So if Jack, if he passes away, okay, how long does his wife have to wait until she gets remarried? If it's March 1st.
July 10th.
Somebody said no.
July 10th.
Huh?
July 11th.
All right, July 11th.
Yeah.
Okay? 4 months and 10 days, she can actually get remarried again. Okay, and this is in regards to that. Again, we whole question towards the end. Let's talk about a talaq. Now again, let's say it wasn't one of those situations where he used a certain wording, he was clear in what he said. You are divorced, so on and so forth. He didn't use get out of my house, anything like that, anything that's conspicuous. He basically said, you're divorced. If that is the case, how long is her iddah period?
3 menstrual cycles.
We want to be careful. It is not 3 months. I'm going to explain the difference between months and menstrual cycles. All right? It is 3 menstrual cycles. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, it is 3 menstrual cycles. The only time you're going to count months is if a woman is in what? Menopause. She does not have her menses. If that is the case, that's when you count months. But you count 3 menstrual cycles. So much so to the point where, the scholars of Islam mention if a woman is to have a menstrual cycle every other month. Because not every woman has a menstrual cycle every month. But let's say she has it every other month. And she gets divorced, when is her iddah over?
6 months.
After the 3rd menstrual cycle.
After the 3rd menstrual cycle. So if that takes how long, Ma'ad?
6 months.
Huh? Then her iddah period is how long? 6 months. Okay? So brothers can't say when they divorce in January, all right, March, sister, you done it. Get out of here. All right? No. If her menstrual cycle lasts, or her 3rd menstrual cycle happens in July or August, that's when it's over. And she's entitled, and depending on what part, if it's not irrevocable, if it's not Talaq and Khula, meaning the 3rd divorce, if it's the 1st or the 2nd one, she's still entitled to provision. Until that what? Marriage is avoided, null and void. Okay? Until the marriage is over, excuse me. Alright? On the 3rd one, again, she's no longer your wife at this point, because she has to marry someone else. Okay? But again, if it's the 1st or the 2nd one, then what? She's entitled to the maintenance and everything like that until her iddah is over. Brothers can't say, listen, I'm mad at you, whatever, I ain't gotta pay the rent, you got it, you on your own, alright? That doesn't work out that way. You have to feel Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If it is a khula, alright, if it's a khula, then how long is her iddah period? 1 menstrual cycle. Some of the scholars, I added this here too, some of the scholars who consider a khula to be a talaq, because there are some who say that. However, Jumhur, a lot of major scholars, they say that it's only 1 in Jama'ah min al-Sahaba, the majority of the Sahaba, also Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah, Shaykh Taymiyyah, and other than them, they say that it is 1 menstrual cycle, if it's a khula. Again, a khula is what? Wife don't want to be with you no more. That's in a nutshell, alright? She don't want to be with you no more, and then she offers herself, not offers herself, she gives the dowry back. If that is the case, it starts. We're going to talk about this more in detail in the next 2 slides, just be patient. However, the proof for this is 229. Who had it? All right.
It says, divorce is twice, then either keep her in an acceptable manner or release her with good treatment. And it is not lawful for you to take anything of what you have given them unless both fear that they will not be able to keep within the limits of Allah. But if you fear that they will not keep within the limits of Allah, then there is no blame upon either of them concerning that by which she ransoms herself.
That's the point. There's no sin. That which she ransoms herself in a marriage. Talking about the returning of what?
The God.
The garden. The diary. All right. You jumped ahead, I think. All right. Let me quarterback it. All right. So what happens here is when we talk about the diary, so there's a hadith where a woman, all right, she was the one to establish a place where she basically wanted to separate from her husband. There's a point that I want everyone to focus on. She mentioned, "O Messenger of Allah, I'm not attacking his character, I'm not attacking his deen or anything like that. I just don't want to what? I don't want to be married, I don't want to be with no man." This is a major point because when we get to khula, we're going to talk about the meaning of the hadith. A woman who asks for khula without a just cause will not smell the fragrance of paradise. Alright? So again, she said, "I'm not attacking him because of his deen or his character. I don't want to be with her anymore." The Prophet ﷺ, for those who know the hadith, he said, "What? Are you going to return back the garden that he has given you?" Alright? She mentioned yes. Then the Prophet ﷺ ordered that it happens. That basically the khula happens. But she did what? She returned back the diary. Alright, again, write your questions down and we'll address it towards the end. Anwar, if you go to the next slide. Not if you write it down. No. That's what's you slipping, shit. Alright. Alright. So again, it's kind of off the screen, but now we're talking about a talaq. Again, we're talking about something that is clearly, there's nothing ambiguous about what he said. He said that you are divorced. That's it. So there's two types. You have that which is called Sunni, and that which is called Bid'i. We're actually going to get to this. Does this actually count or not? Okay? So what happens here is that, what happened?
I'm just, so you can get the, say it again.
What's going on, Shane?
Hey, I'm waiting for that to disappear. There you go. You good.
All right. It's all love, brother. All right. So anyway, again, on this side, again, now it's even further on the ceiling.
I can read it though.
All right. So according to the Sunnah, we said that a man. Could someone read it? All right. On this side, what's the first one say? A man will say you are divorced one time to start the process. Both of these things have to be in place for it to be an actual talaq according to the Sunnah. The second condition is that he says you are divorced at a time he did not have intimacy with his wife. Okay? He can't just get mad and then afterwards, all right, he just can't get mad and then afterwards he says, "You know what, you're divorced." All right, especially after he had intimacy. Okay? Then in that case, that's going to fall underneath talaq bid'i, and we're going to talk about that. So again, a man will say to his wife one time, "You are divorced," and that actually starts the process. But it has to be at a time where he did not do what? Have intimacy with his wife. Okay? It has to be at that time. If that is the case, there's no doubt about it, the divorce process has started. You can cry all you want, you can say whatever you want, but the divorce process is actually started. And if it's the third divorce, there's nothing you can do about it, akhi. She has to go and marry someone else. Alright? So now, we're talking about a talaq bid'i, which is, I can't even read what it says. Okay, opposition to the Sunnah. Okay, the first one says, can someone read that?
It says you are divorced many times at one time. How many divorces is it?
Alright, he says you are divorced many times at one time. So I'm gonna give you an example. Jack gets mad at Jill again, and he says, "You know what, I divorced you. How many stars are in the sky? That's how many times you divorced. Get out of here." Alright? This actually happens, some people in Arabic it happens a lot, alright? But not necessarily the way we speak in English. For example, or a brother says, "You are divorced, you divorced, you divorced, you divorced, you divorced, get out my face." How many divorces that actually count?
One.
Alright? So therefore that only counts as what? Actually, there's a difference of opinion. Some of the scholars mention, and it's a rare opinion, but some of them say that it actually happened 3 times. Okay? The opinion that I think is the strongest, and it's based upon proofs and evidences, is that, I'm going to tell you what it is, that it only counts as actually one divorce. What happens is the reason why those scholars say it actually counts as 3, I'm going to tell you how they even came to that. During the time of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that was always counted as one divorce. No matter how many times he said it. If he said you're divorced, he could say it from here to tomorrow. If he doesn't say anything else. You divorce, you divorce, you divorce, you divorce, you divorce, you divorce. That only counts as one. That's how the Prophet ﷺ actually ruled it. Also, who also ruled it that way? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And even Umar bin Khattab, he ruled it that way until 2 years into his khilafah. What happened is that 2 years into his khilafah, a lot of men, they would making the habit of just divorcing like this. So therefore, he started to count it as what? As 3. So now the men start saying, whoa, let me not do what? Let me not do what? Let me not play around like that. All right? So then, because he started to count it as 3, and he was the Khalifa of the Muslims. So therefore, and also the reason why some of the scholars count it, you have a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Alaykum bis sunnati wa sunnati khulafa." Upon you is my sunnah and the sunnah of the rightly guided khulafa, meaning Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali. So if they came up with this particular thing, this is why some of them say it's 3. However, the strongest opinion, that which I follow to be closest to the truth, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best, is that only counts as 1 divorce. Okay, while she's on her menstrual cycle, the brother divorces his wife on her menstrual cycle. It's called Talaq and Khula. This is opposition to the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And again, some of the scholars, they differ on this, and they say that that does not actually count. There was a companion by the name of Ibn Umar, the son of Umar al-Khattab, who actually divorced his wife when she was on her menstrual cycle. Okay? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he ordered from Murhu and Yaraji'ah, order your son to take her back. Okay? So therefore, based upon this is why, and other proofs as well, the scholars mentioned that that's not actually count. However, Ibn Umar, he had the opinion that it actually did count. We'll go over that in more detail. Just wait. All right. They had intimacy and then he divorced her. Okay? Everybody knows what that means. Whatever case may be, he was angry, whatever. After he had intimacy with her, he said, you know what? You divorced. Does that actually count? Some of the scholars mentioned that it does not count because, again, it is talaq bid'i. Okay? We'll go over that in more detail, but now let's go to the next slide. All right, and I really need to put that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Again, what is this word? Khula. Okay. All right. Who can read this? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said what? Can you read louder?
Anyone who seeks to separate from her husband without a just cause must know the fragrance of paradise.
All right, this hadith was Sahih Al-Albani, rahimahullah. Sheikh Albani said it is authentic. Here, any woman, okay, she asks her, or she requests a separation from her husband without a just cause, will not smell the fragrance of paradise. What does this hadith actually mean? It doesn't mean to the extent that she will not enter Jannah. All right, some people would like to interpret it. Okay? However, it is a wa'id, is a strong threat, is a strong thing that she needs to take into consideration about not just jumping to conclusions or getting in her feelings or what have you. Listen, I just want out of this marriage. Now again, we shouldn't just say, well, since that's not a just cause. So what is the rubric, what is the yardstick to determine if it is a just cause or not? So for an example, we can talk about it after class, but for an example, if a brother gets married to another wife, these are real situations. Is that a just cause?
No.
All right. So how, because he's doing something that's halal. However, if it's going to push her to the point where she's going to start doing certain things that are haram, out of anger and things like that, then possibly it can be a just cause. Okay? Because now she's thinking about killing her husband and so on and so forth. All right? And she might actually do it. Okay? It happened before. All right? I know several cases where in 2 different cases that actually happened. However, the beginning, the asl of it, the origin of it, no, that is not a just cause. However, but if it's going to lead to potential harming of the people, then we need to talk about that. So here, in regards to not smelling the fragrance of paradise, the scholars of Islam mentioned this is connected to a time, it's all right, so basically it's connected to a certain time where she will not smell the fragrance of paradise, while other people are enjoying and smelling the fragrance of paradise. The scholars of Islam, they mentioned that she will not actually smell it at that particular time. But again, we will not interpret this hadith to mean that she will never ever go to Jannah. Because we have the hadith that what? Anyone who has a mustard seed of faith in their heart will be let out of what? Out of the hellfire. Alright? So again, you don't want to go to the extreme and say, well, since you're going to hellfire. Alright? No, it does not actually mean that. But again, a brother gets married to another wife, or give me another reason that why one will ask for khula. Let's be honest, come on. He lost his job? Alright? Huh? Alright, abuse, that's just cause. Alright? I didn't say it's not just, if your dude's beating his wife or not, knocking out his teeth, she gotta leave, huh? Alright, so again, without a just cause. So we're talking about a brother lost his job.
That's a just cause?
No, I didn't say come on now, don't scare me like that.
I'm just asking.
No, I didn't say that. I'm saying that what some people would say is they will use as an excuse. My husband lost his job. Oh, brother, I want to pull up. That's not a just cause. All right, that's not a just cause. It's the sister feel Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so on and so forth. Again, he married another wife. Technically speaking, the also of that comment is not a just cause. However, if that is going to lead her to do something haram, then that needs to be considered. But again, the brother gets fired. He had a job in corporate America or whatever. He comes home. I got laid off. All right, brother, here's your diary. I'm out. Come on, that's not just cause. That's not just cause. All right. So that's in regards to that. But now I'm going to ask about this. When can she ask for a khula? The scholars of Islam mentioned this is not like a talaq. We said a talaq, a man can actually divorce his wife only at a time when what? He did not have intimacy with her, so on and so forth. A khula is totally different. Because she is actually ransoming herself from the marriage, she can ask for it at any time. Hatta fi hayd, even on her menstrual cycle. Because now at this point, this is a right Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given her, and she wants to free herself. I don't want to deal with the situation no more. I can't, so on and so forth. Hopefully she has a just reason, okay? And then whoever's in charge is going to help her determine is that a just reason or not. Sister feel Allah, be patient, so on and so forth. All right? However, again, she can ask for it at any time. The scholars of Islam, this also is the opinion of Ibn Abbas and other companions as well. Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah, Shaykh Uthaymeen, and other than them, excuse me. That she can ask for it even at during her menstrual cycle. That listen, I can't. Here's a dowry back. Obviously, the husband has to agree. If he doesn't agree, he's still married. All right. So we're going to talk about that. However, if she says I don't want to deal with it anymore, she's on her menstrual cycle. I need to get out of here. I'm tired of the abuse. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of all this other stuff. Then she can free herself from the marriage if he accepts back the dowry. Okay. Now also, who can read this?
How much of the dowry must she give to free herself from the marriage?
All right. And then Talaq, he read Talaq. You know who read Surah Al-Baqarah, all right? All right. How much of the dowry must she give to free herself from the marriage? There's 4 different options that can happen. And the reason I'm going to explain it. All these are based upon or contingent upon this one ayah, and also the hadith that we mentioned. The first one is that she gives back all of it. Okay? The reason why the scholars actually differ because this part where Allah says there is no sin on both of them and what? Female. Because, I thought this was a boy, but it's not right. But female is basically, this is general. And what she frees herself with it for the marriage. Because this is general here, female, the scholars of Islam mention it is open. So having said that, the first opinion is, or the first option is that she gives back what? All of it. And that's clear from the hadith. So again, let's say her dowry was $7,000. All right, sister, you want a divorce? I want my $7,000. Okay? That's the first option. The second option is that because of this ayat here, because we said this part is what? General. Then the scholars have different opinions. They have 4 different opinions. The second opinion is that she gives back less than what she gave her. Okay? Because again, huh?
Does he have to accept
No, again, this doesn't happen. If he don't accept it, you still married.
Okay.
All right?
All right, let's get it out there.
Okay, the second one, she says, listen, all I got is $2,000. I already got out of here, so on and so forth, whatever. He accepts it, it happens. Okay? $2,000. The third one is And this is, let me explain. The third one, because this is general again, the scholars of Islam mentioned he can actually ask for more than what he gave him. So let's say, and this, I'm gonna give you a real situation. Let's say a sister was playing games the whole time. She didn't want to be married to the brother, okay? And the dowry was $1,000. So he gave her the $1,000. He's taking care of her, so on and so forth, paying her bills, doing everything he's supposed to do, clear her credit cards, her debts, and everything like that. And she said, you know what? I don't want to be here no more. Here's your $1,000. Brother says, no. I done took care of you. I done did this. I done paid for your college and all this stuff. I want $5,000 back. If you went out of this marriage, I want $5,000. All right? Because that the ayah is, because the verse is on, he has that right to ask for that. Okay, we need to understand that. Again, I know some people say, well, no, it's not fair. But again, I gave an example. This is real life. Okay? Well, people play games and so on and so forth. So again, the brother says, no. You went out of the marriage, I understand this, that, and the third. I want 7 G's back. All right? I know who the dowry was for, but I want 7. All right? So again, that's the third option. The fourth option, he can just say, you know what? I don't want nothing. Just get out of here, man. I don't want to do what you want. All right? So that's actually the fourth option. That's the fourth option. So again, the first one is what? You're going to be asked about this on the test. First one was what? Second one was what?
That's the thing.
The third one was what?
More.
And then the last one is? Nothing. He said, get out of here. Don't write get out of here on the test. Okay? All right. The third one, does a khula actually count from the numbers of talaq?
No.
Again, the strongest opinion is that it does not, because again, the majority of the scholars, they see that khula is totally different from a talaq. So for an example, if a brother got married to a wife, he divorced her, they actually divorced, he took her back during that time. All right? Now again, he takes her back during that time. That she hasn't completed the 3 menstrual cycles, not 3 months, she hasn't completed 3 menstrual cycles, he takes her back. And we're going to talk about how can he take her back and so on and so forth. But if he takes her back, then what happens? She's still his wife. But then now she wants to, I don't want to do no more. A few months later down the road, she asks for a khula. The khula actually happens. They get separated. He marries her again a year later. Or not even a year later. Right after that. How many divorces? Does he have 2 left? Does he have none left? Is 1 left? A khula does not count from the talaq. Okay, we need to understand that. A khula does not count from the numbers of talaq. Again, there's a difference of opinion. Some scholars say they do. Okay, but the strongest is one that it does not actually count. So again, if, for an example, if she asked for the 2 times they were separated, it was not a divorce, it was a khula each time. Then he divorces her, that he only has what? 1 divorce, and not 3. Okay? So we need to understand that. The last one here is, who can read this? Huh? Alright. Jack and Jill. All right, Jack and Jill, they basically married. Jill, she's separated from her husband twice. But under these conditions, underneath a khula. Then they got, took her back, or she decided to go back to him, so on and so forth. And then he divorces her. Remember, she asked for a khula twice. My question is, does that count when they get married again? If he divorces her, is that it? That's 3? That's it? No. It's only 1 divorce. Because again, the khula doesn't count from the numbers of divorces. This is the right of the woman and the man. If a woman had the ability just to divorce a man anytime she wanted to, a lot of us won't be married. All right. So that's in regards to that. So anyway, let's go over this last one. If she wants to return back to her husband, how does she do it? Last one is basically if while she's in her iddah period, and so the iddah period for a woman who has sought a khula is how many? 1 menstrual cycle. And she wants to return back to her husband. In this case, this is not like a divorce. All right. If she does not want to go back, she don't have to go back. Okay. But she returns back to him. They have to have a new contract and a new dowry. Again, if he accepted the dowry, whether it was 5,000, she finished her iddah period, her menstrual cycle, they want to get back together. They can't say, well, no, we was together, so on and so forth. It's only been 6 months, 3 months, what have you. No. If they want to get back together, it has to be a new contract and also a new diary. Okay? That's in regards to that. So again, these are the different issues, and now we'll open it up for, what time is it? 9:15. All right, we'll open it up for questions now. Shalom. All right, Aaron, can you go back to the first part? Well, let's start on the first, let me go slide by slide. All right, anybody has any questions about what we mentioned here? No. Next slide. Here. No. You laying down, sir. I can't see you.
Khula, right? If the sister asks for khula, I don't know. This is what I heard. Does the brother have to say, "I grant you the khula" or anything, or no? How does that go? No.
All right. So again, if he takes it, that's a clear indication that what? That listen, he accepted it. He just can't take the 10,000, file down in the pocket and say, "Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow." All right. And he just reached at you.
But does he have to
Get some
agree?
No, he doesn't have to agree. It's his wife. He doesn't have to agree. Now, let's say an example. There's a real situation. He's totally oppressive. All right, he's totally oppressive, and I'm not letting her go. At that point, she can actually seek a ruling from the imam, who has the power basically to annul and void the marriage. All right. Because again, you're not going to. This brother's beating me up. He's doing this. He's doing that. So on and so forth. All right. Again, if it's a total need for it, then that can actually happen. Okay.
Also, he has to take some of the dowry back for the khula you're saying.
Yeah, he has to receive something. It just can't be. I went out of this marriage and said, okay. And she said, all right, cool. She goes to remarry. No, a part of it is you really went out of this marriage, return back the mahar. All right, give back the dowry.
Even if he's abusive? Even
If she wants out of it. She wants out of the marriage just because he's abusive. And again, I'm not condoning wrong. That's totally wrong. The man shouldn't abuse women. But again, if that is the case, and she totally wants out of the marriage, how bad you want out of it? You better dowry. I don't want nothing from you. I want out.
I guess I was asking where she had been an imam and the imam declared khula, she's being abused, but say she doesn't have it to get back.
All right. So, and that's a different case. That's a different case. But generally speaking, she should get back something if she has something in the marriage.
So for any of these situations, you don't need any witnesses. This is just the husband and the wife at home and they agree.
No, in all cases, the scholars of Islam mentioned that there should be witnesses involved. And the reason why having witnesses involved is because it aids people from doing what? From playing games. Okay? So for example, if in any particular place, if they have contracts, all right, this person married 3 times, this person got divorced, and they actually have it written down, it keeps a person from saying, well, I didn't divorce her, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, because they have what? Yeah, a contract proof. Listen, we keep a file on these particular things. Okay? So this is why some of the scholars mentioned having witnesses is extremely important because it keeps people from playing around. Yeah.
She don't know her rights at that time. She asked for it. Didn't understand the rights that she had, and she did ask for it, like was she supposed to get back, and how was the dowry that she supposed to get back many years ago, and she don't remember.
All right.
And she held accountable for that.
So rare cases like that, for example, if it was ruled that it counted at a khula, a brother can't come back 10 years later like, yo, I think you married my wife, you gotta give it back out. That doesn't work out that way. Okay? So if it can happen, halas. It's over. It's a done deal. All right? So that's in regards to that. This is why it's important, again, to actually understand our deen and make rules based upon the ilm. All right, any other question? About this slide. If it's the next slide, we're going to wait till the next slide. Okay. Next slide. Emma.
What was the thing? Okay, clarify the thing about the witness. You said about if anything require a witness. Because, I mean, usually if in these situations it's you and your wife, that's it. You're not going to get angry and then pick up the phone and be like, hold on, I want you to hear this real quick.
No, but again, a brother eventually is going to say what? Listen, I divorced my wife, so on and so forth. And so that's why it's important as well to come back and make these situations known to the imam and things like that. So therefore, there can be a record of what's going on. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Is that the same as when in the Quran it says about take two witnesses?
That some of the scholars have interpreted that way as well. Now,
Okay.
even the issue of divorce for them to have witnesses present. Now, next slide. About the end of period. Hey, oh,
It's a marriage, I have a question. Is marriage based on lies?
Mhm.
Is it to be an omen?
Well, no, what type of lies? Like, brother, I didn't tell you I was married, my bad.
I had hair.
Yeah, that's definitely in all that.
He or she provided a lot of falsehood when they were doing their interviews or their, discussions or whatever, and they have like a lot of things turn out to be false.
Yes, yeah, so it depends, again, it depends what they're lying about and things like that. Now, if he's lying about, obviously, he already has 4 wives, but I was planning to divorce her, so on and so forth, these are extreme cases. But again, if we take it down a couple levels, if she lied about a sickness that she had, or something like that, then that's for example, we would leave that for someone who's in charge, basically to rule if that marriage was null and void or not. But again, because we have a lot of cases, and I've heard different situations, well, Allah Musta'an, for example, and I'll say this all the time because I think this is sick. A brother had HIV, and he's marrying, well, see, I don't have to tell anybody anything, okay? And it's a serious situation where people have STDs and things like that, and they're not telling their spouses what's going on. This is why we encourage people to get tested before marriage and things like that. But again, in regards to, is that actually annul it? It's a case-by-case situation. It's not just like one paintbrush where she lied about this, marriage null and void. Nah. Yes? Oh, no.
During
Yes.
the divorce period, the divorce is final. How long does the husband have to take care of the wife? So, while she's going through her dad, I know he has to provide for her and everything, but then after that, it's just like,
Yes, that's it. That's it. Not his wife anymore.
Unless she has a baby that she's nursing, right, then you have to take.
Yeah, obviously, if she has a baby that she's nursing, then he owes, he said child support. He owes his responsibility to the child, obviously making sure the mother has enough food to basically eat, to breastfeed the child, and so on and so forth. All right? And things like that. Yes.
Unfortunately, a lot of brothers like the layaway plan on dowry. So if he has not completed that dowry and she wants a Khula, right?
Okay.
Then how much of that does he get back since he hasn't completed his layaway?
All right, the layaway plan.
Paid, right? What he paid. So
All
far.
right, if the dowry was $5,000, he only paid off $100.
You get $100 back.
Okay? And, sister, I'm gonna take care of you anyway, you wanna do this, you wanna do that, don't worry about it. Just, this is your right, so we shouldn't be waiting. What's going on, brother? It's been like 5 years, you only give him $5,000, what's going on? We agreed to $5,000. Okay? Now, and she's like, you know what, I don't even wanna deal with him anymore, this, that, and the third. He can't say, you know what, just waive the rest of what I owe you. All right, which is what a lot of people may end up doing anyway. All right, or
You might say give it up.
you might say give you the whole thing. And at that point, right, she can't give back what she was never got, it was never given.
But you said he can inflate the amount.
I did say that. Let me quarterback this thing, shit. I got you. All right. All right. I got you. I understand the game. I got you. All right. Hey, you ain't gotta tell me, huh? All right. So he only paid off a piece of it. And he said, listen, I want all of it back. At that point, she can go to the imam and go and seek other help. All right, to clarify. Yes.
Some cultures, they wait longer than the 4 months before they go on and marry again.
After the husband has died?
You have to husband die because some cultures, they want you to seek it, some sisters seek it longer than that. Is that permissible or something?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean like on the 11th day she got to be like, all right, let's get married. It doesn't mean that. It just means that after this period, she's free to get married.
Yeah.
So if she wants to wait 5 years, 10 years, she never wants to get married again, that's her choice. That's her choice. But it doesn't mean, again, that, you know, on 11th day she has to be married. It doesn't work that way. I know.
In regards to the khula, if she can request it at any time, including her menstrual cycle, if she requests it on her menstrual, by the time of, you know, that ending, say it's 5 days and it's accepted by the husband, is it over at that time?
Alhamdulillah, that's a good question. All right. So alhamdulillah, like salam alaikum. So some of the scholars they actually go into two different opinions regarding that. And some of them say that, listen, if, for example, it was her last day of her menstrual cycle, all right, and she seeks a khula, she has to wait again until she has the new menstrual cycle, and that will actually count. Not that, all right, my menstrual stops in like 5 minutes. I'm done. I'm out, bro. All right, it doesn't work out that way. No. So yeah. What if she loses count? If she want to get out there, she ain't gonna lose count. If she really want to get out of the marriage, she ain't gonna lose count. Okay?
He's counting.
All right, so this is why it's important. Again, this is why it's important to have witnesses, things on paper. People don't lose count. People start playing games and so on and so forth. All right. Any questions about this slide? All right, next slide. Next slide. Any questions about this? Hold on. He had his hand up first.
So, the khula is initiated by the woman, correct?
Yes.
So, the man has to agree to this.
Yeah, she just can't say, brother, I asked you for a khula. You ain't say anything, I'm out. It doesn't work that way.
So, when the man agrees to it, and then the iddah period is 1 menstrual cycle, you had mentioned something about a scenario where there's 2 khula and then a talaq. Like, how do you have 2 khula?
All right. So there's not a number on how many times she can actually seek the khula. So for example, if Jill went to Jack and she said, that, listen, I'm done with the marriage, this, that, and the third, and they were separated. She went through the 1 menstrual cycle, then they got back together, but they have to but basically getting remarried with a new contract and a new dowry. It happens again. Another khula happens, okay? And then they get back together with new dowry, new contract. Question is, now, husband says, listen, I don't want to be with you no more. And then he divorces her. How many divorces do they have?
One.
That's only 1. That's what I'm saying.
So you can have unlimited khula?
Yeah.
So therefore, some of the scholars mentioned...
That was the question. My question.
So some of the scholars mentioned because a khula does not actually count from the numbers, there's no number you can actually put on it. However, again, some scholars will say, no, that a khula actually counts from the talaq, and you only have 3. This is what some of the scholars as well actually mentioned. All right. Mustafa, I guess Habib had a question. He had a hand.
So, when the talaq is pronounced and he says, I divorce you, and he takes it back within the allotted time, then this is not counted as a divorce, right?
Again, say it again. She asked for khula.
No.
That's a divorce. That's a divorce.
He divorced
Let him put him married, guys.
So he says I divorce you,
Gotcha.
and in the 2nd month he takes her back.
But the second menstrual cycle,
Yeah, it never.
she doesn't finish it,
Yeah,
and he takes her back.
and he takes her back.
Gotcha.
So this is not counted.
That's
because
one
it never-
divorce.
Even though it wasn't completed,
That's 1.
Still, it's a divorce, yeah.
That's 1.
That's 1.
but they were never divorced.
He
They
put
started
her.
the
He
process.
put her in
Can
the
I have
interview.
the
He put her. The point is, he put her in the interview.
Time out.
Somebody time out. He started the process for the iddah. So now, after he takes her back, and again, how can you actually take her back? That could be verbally. Listen, let's call it off. If he has intimacy with his wife,
Takes it back.
that he took her back. He can't say, well, no, I never said it, sister. I was just, I just want to get some stress off.
So you actually have.
That, wait, one second. So again, that means he has how many left? 2. Then after that, he gets mad and he divorces her again.
He's down to
That's the
1.
second one. He takes her back.
Yeah, 1
If he divorces her again, you divorce her. That's it. She got married to somebody else.
So you actually have three
Pronouncement.
in-depth periods.
You have 2 times to take her back. The third one, that's it.
So what I'm saying,
I got you. I
I understand it's hard to focus on that side of it. So it's not actually 3 divorces because then you're not really divorced.
This is why I lost the thought from all the time. Divorce
Yeah,
is
the
2
talaq.
times. Right.
Talaq, not the divorce. Because divorce means like you
Talaq means
divorce,
divorce.
you divorce.
English.
No. All right. So talaq actually means divorce. I understand what you're saying. For example, that's a misunderstanding in our terms. When we say divorce, the paperwork was done, it's over with.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that. Islamically, when we say divorce, we're talking about if he pronounces divorce, you are divorced to his wife. Jack said talaq. Any word that he used that's clear, that's count. He started the part that counts as 1 divorce. Right then and then. If he tomorrow he says, man, I was bugging out, baby, come back. Then he takes her back. Then he divorces her again. But remember again, let's say he waited a couple months because we want to do it according to the sunnah, right? And at a point he didn't have intimacy with her again. He divorces her again, you're divorced. That's 2. That's the second strike. He takes her back again. They get into an argument, whatever the case may be, 4 months down the road. Says you divorced. It's over. It's over.
There's no waiting period on that third one.
The third one, now if she's pregnant,
That's what I'm saying, to know if she's pregnant or not.
yeah, no, she's pregnant, so on and so forth. Again, that's going to determine something else. But she's going to wait. Obviously, that means that waiting period is now for her to prove that she's not pregnant. It's the bra rahim. Proves that she's not pregnant.
So within that time to prove that she's not pregnant,
This is why.
it would be haram.
Huh?
It would be haram at that time, like to be with her.
Yeah, you intimate. Oh, that's haram now. It's over. It's over. And as some scholars mentioned now, if you have intimacy with her, you commit zina.
So, let's say you divorce twice. The husband divorces the wife twice, and they complete the divorce. Like the whole 3 cycles is finished, is over.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of months later, they want to get married.
Mm.
So they get married. Does that start a new fresh 3?
But yeah, good question. So some of the scholars, there's a difference of opinion on that. Some of the scholars mentioned that it actually does not start a fresh 3, right? But some of the scholars mentioned that it does actually start a new fresh 3. However, what happens is that people probably will use that to play games. All right? People will use that to play games and say, well, we're going to wait this out, or so on and so forth. Or, again, if she asks, and this is why also some of the scholars, I remember when I was overseas studying, when we were studying this particular topic, those scholars will say that a khula does not count from the numbers of divorce. That it's better if a woman asks for a khula, and then they let the whole thing run through. Okay? She paid back the dowry and everything like that. He wants to go back to her. There's a new contract, a new dowry, because this does not count from the numbers of talaq. So that is the more safer route. All right? Now.
What? Back to the witness. If he says talaq, but there's no witness, what does that do for the divorce if the witnesses are necessary?
But yeah, so even if there's no witnesses involved, then it doesn't. It still starts the process. If he did it the right way, still starts the process. All right, and they both have to feel what's subhanahu wa ta'ala and understand that. Listen, let's say it's the first one. All right, he has 2 left. Well, technically, that's 1 time we can actually take her back. On that third one, it's over with. So even if there's no witness involved, we didn't tell the imam, we didn't tell the brothers, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. They have to feel what's subhanahu wa ta'ala and know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has Allah is going to hold them accountable. Yeah. All right.
Does talaq have to be verbal? So
He sends her a text message.
yes, he sends a
All right.
text. He writes it on a paper.
All right, he's scared, he don't want to say it because she's going to hit him. Okay? So basically, he waits till he leave the house. You send her a text. I got it. I ain't dealing with this no more. He sends her a text. Okay? It counts, all right? Doesn't mean that, oh, she didn't get the text, I didn't see the check mark on WhatsApp, so on and so forth. No, brother. All right, her phone died, she didn't get it. It counts. It's no game. All right? It counts.
Okay, I have 2 questions. One, so when does the waiting period of the menstrual cycle begin
Mhm.
They divorce again, and it counts as two.
Mhm.
What is the period of the menstrual cycle within all of this?
All right. So again, if it starts at a time where he did not have intimacy with his wife, Jack got mad at Jill, said you're divorced. All right. If she has her menstrual cycle, again, he did not have intimacy. That's the whole point. If she has her menstrual cycle next week, that counts as one menstrual cycle. Okay. And then he takes her back and says, you know what, I'm sorry. You know, I was going through a lot, whatever. I didn't mean it. My job, lost my job. You know, stress, whatever. He takes her back. That stops the end of period because he verbally took her back or he had intimacy with his wife. However, the whole point is that now what happens is if he divorces her again, that when I was counting those times, means the second time, the second divorce. Okay? And then let's say she goes through 2 menstrual cycles. And let's say she started her third one. All right? And they have to get remarried.
You need a light on, sir?
No, it's just the light. When I'm walking into it, the light is hitting. That's it. So I'll just stay over here. All right? So that's in regards to that. When I was saying it counts.
Okay. Well, it's still confusing because I understood that it was supposed to be 3 menstrual cycles, and within those 3 menstrual cycles, if the guy decides to take her back, then Talaq, that's it. Not no.
Yeah, if he takes her back, that ends the divorce process. But it counts as one divorce upon him. And he only has 2 more times to divorce his wife.
Does she have to go 3 menstrual cycles?
She has to complete all 3. Again, Jack divorces Jill. Okay? Jack divorces Jill. That started the process.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you.
Go ahead.
She goes through all 3 menstrual cycles. At that point, he just can't take her back. They have to get remarried. Because the marriage is totally over. She's no longer his wife.
He took her after 2.
If he takes her back after she completed 2 menstrual cycles, she didn't complete all 3. He takes her back, whether verbally, let's make up, whatever the case may be, he has intimacy with his wife, then that ends the marriage, that ends the divorce process. They're still married. But he only has 2 extra times to do that particular thing.
Okay, now the question is, does she have, okay, let's say he wants to divorce her the second time. Does she have to go through the 3 menstrual cycles?
Yeah.
That to be complete.
Yes, she has to go. It can't be, for example, the first time we did 2, so we only got 1 menstrual cycle left. Don't work like that.
Okay.
So each divorce is 3. It's 3 menstrual cycles.
There we go.
Sister in the back. Yes.
It was in.
All right.
Flip to it.
It said alhamdulillah. So go to the other slide. Go back. All right. You said the deal for this one. So at the Baqarah 229. However, the proof that it's only 1 menstrual cycle is that same hadith of the woman of Thabit in place, where the Prophet ﷺ, the scholars mentioned that the Prophet ﷺ also added that it counted as 1 menstrual cycle. So having said that, this is why some of the scholars, they mentioned that it's only 1 menstrual cycle, because it was clear, the Prophet ﷺ, he said what? Return back the hadiqah, return back the garden. I mean, she asked for it. And also some of the scholars mentioned the wisdom, it being 1 menstrual cycle, is that, for example, it is a rahmah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to aid her to get out of the marriage. So for an amount, can you imagine, for example, a woman is being abused physically, or children are being abused, so on and so forth, either mentally or physically, whatever the case may be, and she seeks a khula, and she has to wait 3 menstrual cycles. So as a rahmah min Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mercy from Allah, this is why the scholars mention that it's only 1. However, for a man, this is to teach him to be patient. And this is why this is 3. All right, and also during that process, he has to actually take care of his wife. Now, what we're going to do is, I know there's more questions, so we'll take like 5 more minutes, because it's getting late, and I want to get home late, and then whoever has a question, they can write it down, pass it up, or we can hold them to next class or what have you, okay? There was a sister behind you. Wait, I keep skipping the brother. Who's the brother over here? Follow.
Regarding Khula on that last slide,
Uh-huh.
when you're talking about just cause, there's something I always wondered about here. When you say just cause, so let's say, brother, basically, she asked for Khula
Mm-hmm.
because he took another wife, like you mentioned earlier.
Mm.
What if inside of their wedding contract she put that he can't have another wife or something to that effect?
Yeah.
Does that make it now a just cause?
Alhamdulillah. So last class we talked about if a woman can put that in her contract. We said that if he actually does get married to another wife, that action alone does not nullify the marriage, his first marriage. However, it gives his wife the first one to seek grounds for divorce. Because I stipulated in his contract, you're supposed to abide by, brother, so on and so forth. And then she can actually start her process for a khula. But again, just him marrying another woman, he's doing something halal. So we can't just say that's a just cause. But if it's going to push her and lead her now, she's thinking about harming her husband or killing the second wife and all of the stuff, then perhaps it's better for her just to what?
Right. So basically, even though it's in the contract, it's still not just cause.
In a sense. In a sense. Because like I said, if he has to abide by the contract, but if he decides to go against it, that action alone does not automatically nullify the marriage. It just gives her grounds to say, well, listen, bro, you're supposed to abide by the contract.
Yeah.
Now, all right, just always, these last two questions, because I can't really see just this one and the brother here.
Okay, hypothetical. A brother and sister are married, they get in this agreement, they don't, neither one of them actually divorced, but the husband leaves the house and he's gone for a very long, and then find out that in another state he is married. How do you go about that?
Okay, that doesn't sound hypothetical. Let's be honest. So again, he never pronounced it. Again, those type of situations, it needs like investigation. It's not something that you can just give an answer to. All right. So, for example, because I'll just give you an example. Sister said, listen, the brother left the house, I couldn't get in contact with him, or, it's been a long time, this, that, and the third. And it's like, sister, do you ever send him a text message? Well, no, I couldn't get in contact with him. And what do you mean? So, again, these type of things involve investigation. The imam should get involved, and things like that. So I can't just give an answer like that. Now, brother?
Yes.
Last question.
Last question. If a man in a very angry, when he was in a very angry mood, says talaq, I've heard that that's not valid because he was not saved.
Yeah, again, it's some people. What happens is some people that, like for example, they get angry and then they black out.
Yeah. Right.
And he can't remember. She says, "Well, brother, you divorced me." That's something totally different, and even that involves investigation. But again, we just say everybody's level of anger is different. Because if you open that door, a lot of people are going to say, well, I blacked out a lot, I didn't know what happened, so on and so forth. Right? But they want to stay married. Okay? So that's why, again, those specific situations involve investigation. If there's any other questions, inshallah, please write them down, and we'll hold it to next class. Or you can pass the questions up, I'll take it, I'll address it in the next class, or what have you. جزاك الله خير for coming out. سبحانك وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.